Hi, folks, and thanks for joining us again for another episode of Clouds, a lesson, a blessing, and an opportunity. And as you know, if you've been following this series, we've been looking at mental health, and especially mental health through the lens of shamanism, but mental health also through the lens of this society that we live in. And I think the events of the past year and this year have clearly shown us that we live in a very unhealthy society, and a society that is very willing to risk the mental health of its citizens for fear and for the dictation of governments and their machinations. I felt in starting this series that it was hugely important to get across several points. Number one, mental health is a huge issue in our society. And mental health treatment and the approach to mental health by those in the health business is very wrong and very, very inappropriate and ineffective. So I wanted to put across that, and also how the shamanic practitioner or shamanic societies look at mental health, and how shamanic societies would treat mental health issues. And for me, obviously, coming from the point of view of being a shamanic practitioner, that's very, very significant. And I would suggest that in the older shamanic communities, and I've said this before, that they wrap their arms around the people who are suffering from mental health issues or are displaying mental health symptoms. They enclose them, they bring them to them. It's a very love-based philosophy. They care for them, they look after them, and they deal with the various symptoms of mental health and perhaps what our society would now call bizarre behavior. But I mean, one of the things I think that is hugely important is that there are those aspects within the spiritual community which suggest that any kind of mental health condition is a breakthrough towards enlightenment and awakening, perhaps. I think in a lot of cases it is. It is tapping into a world that we no longer perhaps understand so much in this society, that alternative world of non-reality. And that is radically different, obviously, from this reality that we find ourselves in. And I think children are immediately able to connect in to that energy of the spiritual world, or the world of spirit. And because children live a lot of their lives in what's called theta, and up to 7 years of age, it's almost entirely theta, and that's obviously brainwave levels. That's the name it's been given to the brainwave levels. And that's the state that a shamanic practitioner tries to achieve. So before the age of 7, children are natural shamanic practitioners, natural connectors with spirit. And imagination is a huge part of that for children, that they can run around in an imaginary world and create imaginary things. But there's a purpose to that is extremely important as we grow up, because we're told not to believe that anymore. We're told that's silly, it's childish, all this, but not so much, because when you come into the realm of the shamanic practitioner, that's the realm that you go into. The imagination, the entering into states of trance, or another word for it might be hypnosis, but a very mild hypnosis, of course. And we are offered the opportunity to connect with our guides. And children do this automatically. And we have to relearn that as adults in this society anyway. But in the ancient and indigenous shamanic societies, some of which are still running as we speak, that's fostered. That connection with spirit, that theta level of brainwave activity and trance and hypnosis, that's valued. One of the most valued things, as a matter of fact. And we very much lost that. Because when we do connect into that state, that makes us very powerful. It makes us very available for the wisdom coming from spirit and the direction and the healing and all those things. And that, of course, to societies that wish to undermine us, that's very dangerous, because it takes away the power that society would have and all their pillars of work that they do. But one of the main things I wanted to talk about tonight is that when we connect in with spirit, when we meet with our spirit guides, our power animals, our totem animals, and all those energies, we are establishing a circle of trust, a circle of support. And that's very much where I'm coming from tonight, and what I wanted to speak about tonight, in that it's so important that those people going through mental health crisis, spiritual crisis, even what has been called a mental health breakdown, it's so important that they have access to support and acceptance. And that is one of the biggest things that they need for healing. And of course, in this society, we don't have that. It's quite the opposite. We lock people away. And what they used to call the loony bin. Well, loony is a very questionable word, but bin is very much the state of our mental health services, especially in chronic cases. We put people away in hospital and locked away from normal society and healthy society. And I think both those things are, again, quite questionable. But what they need is support. They need to be looked after. They need their unusual behavior to be accepted and understood. And I think if you look at any of the work that's been done from a shamanic point of view in terms of mental health, and those practitioners coming from indigenous shamanic societies coming over to the West and looking at how people are treated with mental health conditions, they have a lot to say about that. The brutality of it, the absolute insanity of it in and of itself. So what I wanted to talk about is something, areas that I've worked in the past that I found very, very useful, and especially in terms of circles of support. I've been very fortunate in my life that I've gone through, I work with people from various different walks of life and with various different conditions, mental health, learning disability, even in child protection, and offenders, and all sorts of people. And circles of support were very big in that and very useful in that. So I wanted to talk about circles of support in terms of mental health. If it is the case that acceptance and support and love and bringing people with mental health issues closer to the bosom of the clan or the tribe, if that is in fact a healing perspective, then circles of support is part of that. And again, I've worked with circles of support in different areas, learning disabilities and even offenders. And I've found it very useful to curb those behaviours that are difficult and difficult to accept in the broader societal view. But that people with mental health issues are supported, they're looked after. When they are behaving strangely, as sometimes happens, that they are looked after and protected from those people who would be aggressive in the face of those sorts of things. And that's quite a lot. I've seen a lot of people with learning disabilities, Down syndrome, and various learning disabilities being really abused by what is commonly thought of as normal society, because they don't adhere to the social cues and the social rules. So it's very, very important, I think, that anyone who is suffering or has mental health issues that would listen to this and try and establish that for themselves, those circles of support, and the families of people who are suffering from mental health conditions. I think it's a cue for something that they can actually do to support that person within the family. That's basically about listening. That's all it is. Adding everyone's perspective to it. Educating people about mental health conditions. Because there's a huge amount of fear around that, even in this day and age. But I think that fear comes from the way it's been treated by the health service and by the media and legislation put in place by the government too in relation to mental health. I think that at the root of that, I think, is the idea of removing them. And I suppose a lot of people would suggest, well, that, if these people are dangerous to themselves or to others, but it goes beyond that, really. In practice, it's more than that. It's just that people with mental health conditions frighten people, and they are sidelined then because of that, and that's hugely important. But what I wanted to say is just basically outline what a circle of support is. And a circle of support can be organized by the person suffering the condition. Number one, send out invites to friends, family members, loved ones you care about, and ask them to come together to support, just simply to support you. And of course, it's hugely important as well that you choose the right people for this. I think circles of support in the shamanic community would be the likes of drum circles and journey circles and all those spiritual organized meeting places and connections that we make between our friends. And that's hugely important. And again, this time, because of what's been going on with the health service and all that sort of stuff, I have found a great number of people coming together. People who may not buy the narrative for what's going on at the moment and may not share in the mass psychosis that's going on at the moment. It's really important for those people of a different mindset, because this is all about difference. Mental health, learning disability, it's all about people being different but coming together within that difference. And I've seen a lot of that happening over especially the last 6 months actually. And I've met people that surprise me in their view of their spiritual view of what's going on at the moment. And I never thought that wealth of feeling was there. Not even the wealth of feeling, but the breadth of feeling was there. And I'm meeting a lot of people who are supporting each other in small groups, and it's absolutely wonderful. And I guess for this is one thing that got me thinking, well, what about people with mental health difficulty? What about those people who are actually struggling? That they come together, they call out to their friends, their family, or perhaps their family call out to the friends of the person with the mental health condition and organize a meeting. It's simple as that. That's all you need to do. In someone's house, perhaps, or perhaps in a bar, maybe. Well, of course, the presence of alcohol doesn't help, but we can meet without that. Find somewhere that's appropriate and send out that request. And you'd be surprised the amount of people who will come on board for this. It continually surprises me how many people are actually empathic about these sorts of issues. And I reckon that is because there's a lot of people that have been touched by mental health, even in their own lives. Depression, anxiety, family members with issues around mental health conditions. Because there is no normal. There is no normal. They talk about the new normal. There never was a normal. There are people who conform to a norm. That's a whole different kettle of fish. Because we all are different in our own ways, and that's our beauty, actually. But that is never allowed to thrive within the society. You must be a square peg in a square hole, and that's where our educational system takes us and brings us. And we are so individual in our differences, and it's so wonderful because there's so much beauty and so much creativity that can be brought from our individual differences. So this is about bucking the stigma that's attached to mental health, the running away from people with mental health conditions. There's a huge stigma, a huge social status connected to it. But we're there to support this person that we love, that we care about, that we know that our input can have a profound effect upon. And if your input can have a profound effect on somebody's mental health and well-being, surely it's incumbent on you to be part of that circle. And I mean, if anyone is interested in setting up those type of circles, you give me a call. I've done it before. I'm setting up circles of support around shamanism at the moment. I'm trying to organize drumming circles and journey groups where like-minded people can come together and journey and then talk about their journeys, which is the biggest part of it. Well, not the biggest part of it, but it's certainly huge in that, the integration of what we're being told. And in a circle of support for someone with a mental health condition, you get to hear how they actually feel, what they're feeling, how they are coping with the society that we live in. And that alone is such a healing atmosphere to be in for those people who have this condition. It's so healing to be accepted. Simple as that. This is very, very simple concept. There's not much to it. Send out a note to your friends, ask them to get together for support. And what's your circle going to do? Well, what help do you need? What help do you need? Who will you choose to give you that help within the group? And then we go around the group, and say, well, what can you do? Perhaps someone is looking to return to work, but they still have mental health issues going on. They can be at the other end of the phone should they need support. someone who can go and meet with the person, and when they begin to panic, perhaps, or are not fully accepted as they should be within the workplace, perhaps that person can negotiate. Where will it be? Where will the circle of support be? One of the biggest things about it, it's not like an intervention where there are people sitting around the person in the middle and they're deadly serious, and the whole atmosphere is very, very heavy with the weight of people's thoughts. This should be friendly and fun. Come on together, support me. Why not? We'll have a bit of fun, have a bit of crack. Now, after the fact, after the meeting, what worked well? What were the significant things said? How did it help? And what was it about the person offering the help that did help? It's something to think about. I think anyone with mental health issues, send out a request to your loved ones. They're loved ones for a reason, I guess. So I think that after the fact, there will be a huge leap for the better for that person. So that's all I have to say about that. However, by the way, if anyone is interested in these rattles that I keep using at the beginning of the videos, Colette Dixon in Mayo, not far from Castlebar, she makes these, and they're an absolute work of art. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful sacred objects, imbued by her own spirituality and her own view of shamanic thought and spirituality. And they're absolutely beautiful. Colette Dixon is on Facebook. Give her a message. They're absolutely gorgeous. So, let's do a journey. Quick journey, nothing too long. We're going to journey for our shamanic circle of support. So this is an upper world journey. And first of all, you need a place of safety and security that we use as a launch pad to go up. And if it's an upper world journey, we're going upward. And then you choose a means by which to go up. Go up a tree, go up on a wind. Remember, imagination is so profound in this, so important. A bird comes down, picks you up, carries you up. So that's the thought. That's the thought behind it. Those two things are hugely important. And with the shamanic journey, and I've been doing these now, I don't know, well over 10 years anyway, 12 years, 13 years. It's really, really important to let your mind flow, to have no expectation, just allow yourself to feel what's coming in, what suggestions coming in. My shamanic teacher, Kieran Carr, always said the best way to get through this is to lose your expectations completely, because we don't know the way Spirit is going to interact with us. So, anyway, breathing. Relax the body, get the feet flat on the floor, pull up that energy from the ground, from Mother Earth, bring that up through the chakras. Breathe in to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for the count of 4, then release for the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And keep that cycle going. Keep that cycle going. And that will bring your heart rate, your blood pressure, all those things immediately down. And you will become so much more calmer in working through this. And if you're calmer, then all these influences will come in very, very, very clearly to you. Okay, so begin your breathing. in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Release, 2, 3, 4. Keep that breathing pattern going. Now focus on your place of safety and security, somewhere that you know that is very, very safe for you, very comfortable, very calming to you. And to help you engage with this journey, bring in all your senses. So in this place that you know so well, that you're visualizing, what does it look like? What does it look like in its very smallest elements? What's around you? What's in the immediate vicinity of this place that you know so well? What's in the room? What smells are there in this place that would remind you of it? What sounds? What's the temperature like in this place? Reach out and touch something, anything at all. How does that feel to your hand? Is it hard or soft, rough or smooth? And now it's time to go up to the upper world. So in the manner that you've chosen to go upwards, go up there now. Feel yourself lifting off the ground, rising up higher and higher above the ground, seeing the things below you getting smaller and smaller. Rising up through the clouds, penetrating through the bank of clouds and out the other side to the bright blue sky. Rising higher and higher and higher, and above you see, sitting on a huge cloud, is a white-walled city of Shambhala. As you get closer and closer and closer, you see standing at the gate, golden armor of Saint Michael, the Archangel. And gently you touch down in front of him. Acknowledge his presence as he acknowledges yours. Feel the energy emanating from him. Feel the strength and the power. Feel the compassion. Feel the great advocate as he stands before you. He motions you to go through the huge gates of the White City, and you enter in and find neatly manicured lawns. right, there are many tall buildings. In front of you is a central square, a meeting place. To your left, a river runs through the White City. And over the river, the Rainbow Bridge. Go towards the Rainbow Bridge and cross over to the other bank of the river. And as you walk along the rambling hills, you see in front of you what looks like a Native American lodge, roundhouse. A roundhouse in the style of the great Celts, the great Vikings. Approach and go inside. And the room is empty. So call out to your guides. Meet in this circle of support for you. Call in all your guides for health, for wisdom, for healing, and one by one all your guides come. Your guide for acceptance and support. Your totem animal and your power animal for strength and insight. Who comes in for you? These are all your guides that you've had since birth and possibly beforehand. Probably your guides through many lives. Your power animal for courage. Your power animal for doing all the small things. Power animal related to your ego. Your power animal for balance. All these creatures and guides are now surrounding you in this circle of support. So whatever your questions are around the major things in your life, ask them. This is your sacred connection. Take time to get to know these guides. And as you feel them come towards you, feel their love. Feel the healing nature of their presence, their sacredness, their divinity. And remember, in all your guides, we are all one. We are all connected in this great web of energy. None greater, none lesser. More insight perhaps, more understanding perhaps, more wisdom. But we are all the same. So participate in this circle. Ask your questions. Ask for healing. Ask for their love. The greatest healing modem of all. Ask each one to touch you on the forehead and download their wisdom, their strength, their ability. And feel that energy rush through your body. Speak to them, relate to them like you relate to any other person. Converse with them in this way. Know that these spirits are not those that you have to bow down to. You have to bow and scrape to. They're much closer to you than that. These guides are part of you. They are your core. They are all part of your spiritual energy, your soul. Feel that connection. Feel the beauty in this gathering. And now, it's time to leave them and return. But you are bringing them with you in your very essence, in your uniqueness, in your fierceness, your warriorship, your humility, your calmness. So say thank you and goodbye. And make your way out of the lodge and back to the Rainbow Bridge. And make your way to the great gateway, the great entrance of the White City. Where again stands Archangel Michael. He approaches you, and as your other guides did, places his hand on your forehead, and you feel his energy surge through you. The great power and strength, the great love, the great compassion, the great empathy. This great advocate and great defender is part of you. Never doubt that fact. Thank him, and now it's time to go back to that place of safety and security where you first began. So in the same way that you came up, go back down now. Feel yourself descending down through the banks of clouds, down through the air. Those things on the ground are getting bigger and bigger. And very quickly and very gently, you touch down again in this place of safety. And stop for a moment and feel again that energy that surged through you from your guides. Feel the wisdom, feel the confidence, feel the change in your self-esteem and your sense of your own power and the sense of your own rightness. And now it's time to bring your consciousness back into your body. So feel again the weight of your body, your arms and your legs. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Make sure you're fully back again in body and you're grounded. And when you're ready, and only when you're ready, open your eyes. Thanks for joining us in that, folks, and I hope that was useful to you. It's a wee trip to the shamanic world. And I hope you could see the point I'm trying to make there, the connection with your guides. That is what you get when you have a circle of support for someone that is vulnerable and who needs support. Who needs people around them to love them and acknowledge them and acknowledge their condition. So it might be something to think about for those people who are going through a mental health crisis, a spiritual crisis, and for those families of those people. So, thanks for joining us. We're back next week with another journey, and we hope you can join us then. Good night.